Hello, as a staff member in this Amino, I disabled your profile because of the inappropriate advertising found within your bio, alongside several posts. We do not allow promotion or links to sites meant to generate revenue. If we replace the content of the post and bio with something that follows WCA's community guidelines, I'll be happy to re-enable your profile. I hope you understand, and please let me know if you have any questions. That is a message you really kind of don't like to wake up to. But I woke up to it the other day, and I kind of dealt with it for a few hours, trying to not get like my stuff, disabled. And so I guess really let's just start from the beginning. So I'm part of this Amino. I may have said it once, but I'm not going to say it any other time. Suffice it to say, it is Amino, a Amino community built around writing, and it's basically a writing community within Amino. I'm gonna try and be as transparent as possible in this, and to be honest, I don't even care if you agree with this. It's just something I really want to talk about because I don't really agree with the rules here. And I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. But suffice it to say, I've been in this Amino for like a year and 197 days exactly. And in that entire time, they had no problem with my profile or my bio, my bio was the same since day one. Literally, I pretty much just copy and paste my bio to all my communities that I'm part of on Amino. I have changed it over since then, but like this Amino, I haven't changed it at all since I started it. Almost every single one of my profiles, just like, oh, I'm also a writer, here's where you can get my books. I also make games, here's where you can find my games. Here, I also make art, here's where you can find my Redbubble. And that's just something I include in basically every bio. This one, I didn't do that because back when I made this, I didn't really have all those links. I didn't have my games published yet, and I didn't have a Redbubble yet, so that wasn't in my bio for this community in particular, and I never really got around to updating it. So it really only talked about one of my books, the first book that I published, An Incomplete Guide to the Multiverse, which is on Amazon, by the way. Don't ban me for saying that. Anyway, like I'm saying, I've been here for this whole time, and I had 19 posts, I believe it was. And almost every single one of them ended with, and if you like the post, you can support me by checking out this link here to get my book or something like that. Not all of them did, but some of them did. And others were just straight up promotion posts. Like, hey, my new book, Unnecessary, is now available on Amazon. You can get it here in paperback, or you can get it here in ebook. And then I would say like a description of what it's about. And then I even had like 2 pages where you could like just see a quick preview of the pages. That was one of the posts. And I guess you're just not allowed to promote yourself because you can generate revenue, and they don't want anyone making any money by just advertising. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I was like, I refuted this. I was like, how is what's going on? I don't understand. I haven't changed anything in so long. I've been part of this community for almost 2 years. Why are you just now saying something? Why, like, I don't understand why this is a problem. Like, how is this even considered a writer's Amino if I can't share my work? If I can't share where you can get my published work? And it took them a while to respond. They said, sorry for the delay in response, Danny. This Amino is intended for writers of all levels, published or not. And we aim to support you all and your writing. However, sharing certain works while aiming to make revenue here goes against our rules and prevents the accessibility of your piece, considering users would have to buy it first. You're always free to share blurbs of your work without the link to where it is sold, or without writing pieces you're proud of. We want to ensure that whatever you post is accessible to members, otherwise the purpose of sharing your writing is defeated. And they do make a couple fair points in there, like if my post isn't accessible to someone, then the purpose of the post is just defeated. But it's technically accessible to everyone. Like, even if you're not going to go there and buy it, it's accessible to everyone. Everyone can just check out the link and be like, maybe I want to get this. Let me save up $2.99 and get it. By the way, I have a lot of ebooks. Most of my ebooks are like $2.99. they're aiming to support us, but like the way to support us is to be like, let us share our published work, let us tell people where to find their published work. And I got a really long post here. I don't remember what I said exactly because I couldn't screenshot it, and I don't have a picture over here anywhere as reference. But I kept talking about how, like, look, if I make a post sharing my blurb and saying like, hey, this is published. If I said, hey, this book is published, here's what it's about, I'm the first comment, the top comment, and I've actually had this happen before, even after adding links directly to the book, where people will comment, this sounds interesting, where can I get it? And then if I tell them where to get it, they're probably not going to get it, because if I tell them, oh yeah, it's on Amazon, just search it up, and then they're like, can you give me a link? I've had this exact interaction happen more than once, actually. And if, according to their guidelines, if I would to give this person the link, I would be breaking the rules, and that's messed up. That's not really not fair, because this person is genuinely interested, and I can't just like give them a link to it. That's not right. That's just, I don't know. That's like, it's like suppressing my that's defeating the purpose of the post. If I make a post and if I can't tell someone how to get the book by just giving them a link, then that's defeating the purpose of the book. That post, I mean, because a lot of people, believe it or not, are too lazy to actually go to Amazon and then search the book up directly. Basically everyone is like, just give me a link. Which makes sense. To be honest, I would prefer that too, but if I was actually interested, I would search it up on Amazon, just because I know what it's like to be as a writer. So anyway, moving on, I talked about all that stuff, and I also mentioned how, like, look, I've been here for almost 2 years. Why is this just now being pointed out? You had to have changed the rules, because literally my first post did this, my second post did this, my third post did this. My first post was like a alternatives for said, I think it was, and at the end of it, I talked briefly about my book and a little bit about myself, because it was literally my first post, and I provided a link to where you can get my book. But anyway, the response to all of that stuff. I also mentioned that if it is against the rules to provide links or anything if it's against the rules to promote yourself on this Amino, then everyone that has like commissions, everyone that's promoting like, hey, you can commission me for $4 to write this page, these 4 pages. You can pay me $4 to write these 4 pages, or hey, you can pay me $2 and I'll draw this for you or something. You know, commissions. So people do that, and I've been considering actually doing like writing commissions for a while now. But I probably won't now, at least not on this Amino, because I'm not, well, you'll find out later. Anyway, I also mentioned how that like the commissions, if you're gonna say that I'm violating the rules by promoting my work, then you also have to say the same thing to everyone that's commissioning, which means you literally have to go to more than half this community and tell them, hey, you're breaking the rules because you're promoting something to gain money. Anyway, their response to all of this, it was a huge message that I gave them anyway. They ended up replying that there are several thousand members in this Amino, which actually there was only 21,000 members, which I guess is several thousand, but still, that's kind of small for Amino standards. So there are several thousand members in this Amino, and not many staff members. Sometimes we're unable to catch things the moment they happen, but we monitor what we find. Just because it wasn't noticed before doesn't mean it's excused now, which I agree with. But like I said, it's like the rules had to have changed, because I've actually had stuff featured on this Amino that had links to the book. So like, why wasn't it noticed then? Because literally staff members noticed it then. Anyway. They continue saying, similarly, our rules are changed based on the needs of community. Users are expected to check in and review the community guidelines before posting content, and the staff does their best to remind them of this. If you need to review your own posts, be sure to read our rules and make sure they are appropriate. Lastly, while other Aminos may have different standards on advertising, our Amino is its own independent community. Our rules are different. If you refuse to follow the community guidelines, we may have to give you a strike. First off, they seem to be acknowledging that they changed the rules here, but later on they said that the rules have never changed since like day one. And after they told, hang on, move on to the we may give you a strike thing. I have no idea what the we may give you a strike thing means. I have no idea what that means. I know on YouTube, if you kind of mess up, they will give you a strike, and then if you get too many strikes in a row, your channel gets deleted. I do know that, but I don't know if that's how it works here. And if so, that's kind of weird that I can break the rules that much and get a single strike. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't understand what the strike thing meant. It's really weird. Anyway, I ended up replying to this talking about okay, so like, why are the rules changing that much? And if the rules are changing that much to where I have to look at the guidelines every time I post, then this amino is just a chaotic mess, and you need to get your stuff together. I don't know if I said that exactly, but I said, like, look, this is a chaotic mess if you're changing your rules so much that I have to look at it every time I post. That's ridiculous. You can't expect people to do that. Even if you tell them over and over and over again, you can't expect people to check the guidelines every time they post, because they shouldn't have to. That's ridiculous. I also mentioned like how I still didn't understand why it's a rule in the first place, because there's nothing wrong with telling people about your work and giving them access to it. There's just nothing wrong with it. And they continue on saying, Danny, this amino does not allow the sales of books, and it never has. Okay, first off, I'm not directly selling my book through this amino, so I don't really get that first sentence. I'm just telling them where to buy it. I'm not like selling it from this amino. And I mean, I don't know. And he goes, and it never has. The posts that were featured by our curators did not go against our advertising rules, but explicit links to site where the book is sold do. So this is again where this guy, he's kind of getting this wrong, because I linked that at the end, and if you go to my wiki, which you can't anymore because I'm not on this amino, but if you did, then it would say what my book is, where to get it, how much it is, and it just gives you a blurb of it and everything. It tells you all about it, and that's the same as a direct link to the book, and it was featured. The list of every single power was featured, but anyway. They go like, please be straightforward with me. Are you willing to follow these guidelines? And I go, my very first post was a direct link, and I said it was featured, but later on the leader started talking to me. He said it was never featured, which was kind of weird. I may have been getting it mixed up with a different amino, because I'm part of two different writing aminos, so it may have been featured, but it may have been featured as something else. But I also feel like this other guy was lying to me about, and he said it wasn't featured, but I don't know. He was probably right though. Anyway, I was like, look, my very first post has a direct link to the book, and it was featured, and my other stuff was featured too that had direct links to it. And he goes, staff members are still people. Human error is possible, and it seems that occurred in that instance. Regardless, the question still stands: are you willing to follow these guidelines? And I just straight up told him, look, the reason I came to this amino was because it was a great, free, easy place to advertise my work. Meet more people that are interested in this work, and it was just a great place in general to like just promote myself and kind of get that extra promotion, get more recognition for my work, because a lot of my posts actually got like 50 likes on this, so I actually was kind of popular on this amino to a degree, and it was just a great place to do all this stuff. It was a great place to share my work, promote my work, get recognition for my work, and that's why I joined. And if that's breaking the rules, then no, I'm not going to follow these guidelines. And they said, they went on to say that well, since you're not, then you can talk to the leader and maybe you can get this refuted or something like that. So I went. At this point, I was almost already done with the community, to be honest. But I went ahead and said, okay, I'll do that. So I messaged the leader, and we ended up talking. And like I mentioned, he said that my first post wasn't featured, but I thought it was. So there was a bit of confusion there. And I will admit that I was most likely wrong there, because I most likely got it mixed up with a different community. But yeah, I ended up talking to the leader for a little while, and then he kept saying, oh, one thing he mentioned that was kind of ridiculous. He said that the reason why this rule is here is because the primary group of people that are on this particular amino are teens and younger, and they don't have control of their money. And I will admit that some teenagers don't have control of their money because some parents are a little overprotective, or they're not giving their kids as much freedom, and the parents will control the money. And I agreed. I said, look, a lot of teenagers, if they have the money, they're usually in control of that money. They can do whatever they want with it. And that's the same regardless. They can go to Walmart and buy like a video game. They can buy a book. They can buy gum or something. There's nothing stopping them. But if they're not in control of their money, then their parents are in control of the money, and a parent is going to be way more cautious and way more diligent about what that money is spent on. So the reason you're giving me for having this rule is ridiculous. It makes no sense at all. Either way you look at it, it just doesn't make any sense according to that explanation. And it still doesn't make much sense to me that this is a rule, because every other amino allows me to do this. I've done it on other writing aminos. I've actually done it on some other aminos that aren't really necessarily about writing. But it's in my bio. Look, here's all my stuff that I have available. But yeah, it's just a weird mess. Like, every other amino allows me to do this. Every other social media in the world allows me to do this. It's kind of weird that you don't let me do this. And they just kept being adamant, look, we're never going to change the rules. And I said, well, then I'm just going to leave the community. So I did. After I said, look, I'm just going to leave the community, I kind of waited a couple hours. So hopefully, like, maybe I could get them to be like, oh, they're changing their mind. But they didn't. So I just ended up leaving that community completely. And I'm no longer part of that particular writing amino. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. I kind of recording this for over 20 minutes long, so I'm probably going to have to edit the crap out of this. But anyway, yeah, like I said, that's the whole story of being banned from this amino. It's kind of funny, but it was a terrible thing to wake up to. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all those wonderful things. And please do not ban me for saying that. There are links in the description that you can get my books, my games, all kind of stuff. Wonderful stuff. And yeah,